Welcome back, Smite Game Chat, for some more Smite Prime action, plays, and music here. And then we're back, and the next game is going to be a good one. We have Cherry Slush, your favorite thing to go pick up at a 7-Eleven, and Jump Machine, because everybody likes to jump, versing each other here. And Musi, this is a roster, or I guess rosters, to behold here. Some names that people know on both of these ones. We got Benny Q, Cyclone Spin, Inbound, Scream with 5 M's, and Cherry on Cherry Slush. And I lost my Jump Machine roster spot, but you know, I'll find it in a second. Hold on, we're getting there. Slowly but surely, I'm bad at this. Tegveer, Happen, Twig, Valo, and Karmic. How are you feeling about these two teams' music?
I mean, this is going to be the round 3 of all time, is what it sounds like. These teams are actually ridiculous. And Cherry Slush notably has, players that were winners of the Founders Series and the MVP from that series as well. I mean, my eyes have been on Benny Q ever since Founders. You know, always trying to keep track of what they're doing and how they're doing in tournaments. And Benny Q performs pretty consistently. You can count on Benny absolutely popping off. But you know, against Jump Machine, it's not going to be a walk in the park. Like you said, a lot of heavy hitters for both sides here. So I'm just really excited to see how these teams shape up against each other.
I think this is the crazy thing, right? Every time I watch Benny Q, this man plays Hecate. And Hecate was banned until this morning and got fixed. And I am excited because do you ban the Hecate or do you let him pick it? Because every time he picks it, you might think, oh wow, Benny Q's a little bit down. Benny Q might have a little bit of a hard time here. And then he hits a crazy portal back to his team. And then like everything's over and you're like, oh, okay. Benny Q showed up. Benny Q's there. So I'm excited for this matchup. There's going to be a ton of fun picks here. The plays are going to be where it's at. But I'm agreeing with you. I mean, like you see these two teams stacked up against each other. You see where they finished in the Founder Series. Parts of those teams at least. And this is an exciting time. What picks do you think we might see here that are pretty exciting outside of the Hecate music?
So I'm curious to see, especially if I'm not mistaken, I mean Cyclone Spin's on there as well, right? For Cherry Slush. Are we going to see the Vulcan hybrid ADC rushdown that we saw from that other tournament they were in, the SLU, I believe it was? Like, are we going back to that, or are we doing something else?
Yo, hit me with the Vulcan ADC. I'll let y'all know. I'm a Vulcan ADC fan, and I ran it one day in Smite 1. I'll never forget. I loaded in. I was all excited, and wow, he was on the other side. And I've never been hit by 3 Rama snipes so fast in my life. So I would love to see a Vulcan ADC here, though. I think it's fun. I like to see those types of switch-ups here. And, like, when you can show off how some of these gods are played in these different roles, they kind of pop off. That's always a good time. And it gets people to think a little bit outside the box, get some theory crafting going. And that's always something fun to look forward to. So we head into these picks and bans. And we mentioned the Hecate. Maybe we see a Vulcan ban. Do you think they stick with this idea of, like, do they worry about Amaterasu, the Odins? Kind of, what are you expecting here? Do you think they go the tank route, or are we going to get a little bit of mix of everything for these bans?
If Amaterasu is going anywhere, I would almost expect it to go towards Jump Machine. It was either Twig or Tegveer that was able to rock Amaterasu the last time I saw them, and it was Bobby 33, I believe. So players on the team very familiar with that character. Whereas, I don't really see Cherry playing Ama too much. They're more noted for picks like Hades and that general line of thinking. So really, it's probably going to come down to picks like, what does Scream feel like playing today? You have a vast, expansive god pool. And already, I mean, taking away characters like Ares, Morrigan, Bari, it shows that the players know what the other ones are trying to do, what plans they're trying to formulate. These are respect bans. These are target bans. Aside from maybe Bari, that character is just kind of good, so take her off the board there.
Yeah, I mean, like, she's one of those characters, like, she could kind of flex into a couple different roles, but also she's just annoying in a team fight. Like, she cast her ult, and they're like, oh, they saved the life of their teammate. And you're like, oh, we really have to focus that person, because not only are they coming back alive, like, yeah, they're disarmed and silenced for now, but it's only a matter of time till they're back. The Morgan ban, I think, makes complete sense. The one thing you don't want to see is a Morgan transforming into someone on your team and then running it down. And there is the Hecate ban. That's not going to be seen today. at least not in game 2 here, or round 2, I guess I should say. So I'm excited to see what switch ups we're going to see here. Maybe we get a Merlin with an aspect, little goofy guy, but maybe not. Thor is going to be the first pick here today.
And that Thor probably go to Cherry in that Soul Lane. You know, you have Aspect Thor, very tanky character, offers a lot of utility and a fair amount of damage, all while itemizing towards a hybrid tank style, which is all the rage these days here in the Smite 2 streets. This does leave some picks open. Things like Aphrodite, Kabrakan still available. If Happen wants to pick up an Afro for support, or if Karmic wants to try to offer something like that Kabrakan, we still have Mordred that's up. We have ADCs to contend with and talk about. You know, Cupid, best hunter in the game. No one's picked him up quite yet, but it is instead going to be Aphrodite, Sobek. So already we have pretty good amount of peel and a very solid amount of initiation. The startings of a front to back composition, that classic sword and spear.
Yeah, and I like this. I mean, you get the Aphrodite, you got the healing, you got the immunity ult, or what I like to call Aegis. You know, get that Bees Aegis combination. Sobek coming in here, obviously you're going to be able to pluck, but you also have that usefulness of going into that ultimate and getting to execute. But the one thing people kind of sleep on here is also he has anti-heal built into this kit. He doesn't have to build it if he doesn't want to, and that feels pretty good. We see the Baron and the Merlin hovered here. Baron is locked in along with the Merlin. How are you liking this matchup here? Picking up the Baron, obviously he offers the healing as well in a little bit of a different way from the Afro. Do you think that's the matchup you want to see here? And do we get Aspect Merlin? Surely we do, right?
Probably not for the Aspect Merlin. And the reasoning behind that is you could really screw yourself over by just the randomness that can happen with that aspect, because if you don't have the right things leveled up, then you end up getting 2 primary abilities where no points are in it. You know, you've been so focused on leveling your 2, so it's just not quite what you're looking for there. And as where this Baron CMD pick slots in, it depends on where this Sobek is going and where this Baron's going. If Baron in the support is laning against a Sobek, they get eaten alive pretty much every time. They don't have a good answer to pluck. Baron against Aphrodite, a little bit of a different story. They'll be able to stabilize a little bit there. I don't think Baron or Aphrodite really have a leg up over each other too much, but if the Sobek and the Baron end up going against each other.
Yeah, I think this is very matchup dependent. Obviously, we do see that, again, the flex pick potential in Smite 2 is kind of insane. Because you have to worry about aspects, you have to worry about all these other things that make the game just really interesting to watch and to cast, to be honest. We see an Artemis hovered, and actually it was Brahma hovered into an Artemis pick. I like that a lot better in this situation. We saw what Cadalian 4 could do last time without much around it. This time we're going to see it, this time with the Merlin, the Baron, another Thor, and it looks like a Hunbat. So the Beads Burn's going to be there. This could be a good time with a lot of aggression, but not so much on the tankiness side here for Cherry Slush. We don't have that like Sobek figure that we have over here for Jump Machine that has that Kurtanos and Poseidon to go along with it. Looking at these carries, how do you feel that the Poseidon matches up with the Merlin and the Artemis matches up with the Kurtanos?
So when it comes to the matchups, I think between the mid lane, Poseidon should have a leg up over Merlin. Merlin damage isn't spectacular. He's very average god, very average release character. Not a whole lot going for them, but not a whole lot going against them. Where Merlin really struggles against Poseidon because Poseidon throws on the Whirlpool and makes him an optimal target for a Kraken. Merlin lacks a lot of mobility, so if Poseidon can cross that gap and is able to get a little bit of setup, especially from either Sobek or the Fenrir that's locked in here, Merlin pretty much dies. So Benny Q needs to stay extra careful about their positioning with that god, which is something you can ask of Benny Q, a player who's notable with this Merlin, even all the way back over in Smite 1. So definitely a bit of comfortability there for this pick.
Yeah, I think as soon as the Fenrir got locked in with it, it's like, oh my goodness, the aggression going to be put onto some of these more mobile characters. Like, yeah, Artemis has a movement speed stem, but she doesn't have a dash or a jump. And this becomes a little bit scary with the Sobek, the Whirlpools, the Fenrir, and you have to pay attention to where that aggression is going to be placed. Obviously, both these teams know a good bit about each other. I'm not expecting this to be where they get jumped out of nowhere in the jungle, for lack of better words here for Jump Machine. But I do think that's something you have to worry about. And we're going to find out as we head into this game of Cherry Slush versus Jump Machine Musi. And I didn't get to shout it out during our first game, but we have to shout out Cash Money Mort, our spectator day, and our production Test Eye, along with our admin Jithins running it all behind the scenes. Make sure they get the credit that is due to them, as well as these players. But heading into this game, looking at the comps, what we know about Cherry Slush, what we know about Jump Machine, which comp do you think takes the cake here, Muzi?
So I really believe that Jump Machine's composition has a leg up over Cherry Slush's. A lot of that rests on the fact that Scream's rocking this Hunbats, who not too terribly long ago saw the change with his ultimate. You can only fear somebody for a total of 1 second now. That severely hurts what Hunbats is able to do. But when it comes to overall, still leaning towards Jump Machine because of the way that their team composition looks in terms of like a team fight, right? You have Karmic and Valo, Sobek and Fenrir, who are able to really harass the backline of Cherry Slush and be able to get themselves out if they end up committing just a little bit too hard. Happens get to stick back with either Twig or Tagveer and likely deal with the similar strategy from Cherry Slush. 2 front-to-back teams, Cherry and Scream, are likely going to be trying to harass Twig and Tagveer, but that'll be hard to do because Happen is standing right there. So it's going to come down to who can find isolated picks and who can get the jump on first and try to force out tools in a team fight.
And I do want to take a second and point something out here, because this is something we've seen a little bit more in carry, probably like the last 2 patches more than before, is Warrior's Axe being picked up. It feels pretty good on carries. It does work with what it wants to do. As Scream with 5Ms running down Valo over in the jungle, looking to be the goofiest of goobers and maybe steal away a speed buff, getting some good damage on the Valo. And Twig steps up and says, we'll let him live for the time being. Scream is able to secure some farm, but not necessarily the farm that he wanted to secure. Valo getting away with little cheeky business here.
Scream doing a bit of horizontal jungling, just trying to follow around Valo. Like you said, he's just being a general nuisance. At the very least, Valo does have the Sunder to confirm their own speed buff, which they will need, but Scream doing this puts them in an awkward position. They're still in level 1, and, you know, Cherry Slush, they weren't able to confirm their own camps because Valo was just able to seal it away, so now Valo will be ahead, at least for the time being, right? It's already looking a little bit of a dicey start for Cherry Slush, but they're really looking to hit level 5 as soon as possible. Once Cherry or Inbound Scream get their ultimates online, then they can really start to take fights and contest camps a little bit more against what Jump Machine is trying to do here.
Yeah, and I think this is a good play by Jump Machine. I think they know, like, okay, we can get pressure early. It's going to feel pretty good. We're not going to get contested on it too much based off what Cherry Slush has. But, you know, we're talking about later on in the game, the amount of beads burn that Cherry Slush has is concerning. When I look over at Jump Machine, the only 2 people with beads are Twig and Tagveer. So other than that, it's Sunders and you know, a nice little shell. We'll see how that plays out here. But on the other side, we see a few more beads. So we'll see how it goes. I'm a big advocate of beads here. When you see, you know, for Jump Machine, they're against Artemis, they're against the Baron, you're against the Humbats, you're against the Thor. There's some things to watch out for here. So maybe we get a talisman picked up here for some beads for the team. I don't know what Inbound's gonna be thinking here.
Will be a talisman of purification, but also think for Jump Machine, the characters that don't have beads, these gods, they have CC immune ultimates. Sobek, Fenrir can ult away from something like a Thor ult or a Humbat ult if they pre-ult it. And then Afro has their ult they can give to a different god that they're attached to. And that is what they're really relying on.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. Like, is it too risky of a situation? That's what we're going to have to find out. But I agree. They have the CC immunity. How does that play out overall? So far, Valo still playing aggressive over on the enemy side jungle here, looking for any farm that could possibly be up, and then possibly maybe a gank on the dual lane here early. Going to pick up the nice little shield here, then maybe head into that purple buff. And at that point, Valo is level 5, could make a play, but look at the rotation here. Cherry is here. Cherry looking for a play, hits the wall. There's the double tap onto Valo. Valo's eating some damage here, but at what cost is that going to be for the farm of Cherry? Now, here comes Jump Machine invading on the purple buff. Looks like they're going to let that idea go and go to secure their own. On the other side here, Benneq getting ran down by Karmic, and Karmic might have found something that he wanted, is walking around a little bit seeing, hey, Did I do anything else to BenQ here? BenQ half health, a little bit under. Now, there is a CC immunity going into those waters. Looking to see, can you channel the execute? Can you get the damage? It's close. He does. First blood goes to Karmic under the tier 2 tower. And that has to feel pretty good if you're Jump Machine.
Unfortunate. BenQ was just trying to get away, trying to farm what camps they were. And a lot of the fact that, like, Karmic's able to do that because the rotation was forced out from Cherry to go defend the dual lane. So Jump Machine does a good job capitalizing on that. They're playing, 4D chess, as it were. This is of Cherry Slush so that they can capitalize on it as best they can. So far, Jump Machine, all the way from the start of the game, where Vala was walking through Scream's jungle, and now, again, they continue that aggression. They're just asking the question, right? I'm going to stand next to your back camps. I'm going to stand next to your purple camp. What are you going to do about it? And Cherry Slush goes, okay, well, we're going to take our soul lane over there. We're going to try to stop you from doing that, right? Obviously, this is bad for us. Cool. While you do that, I'm going to have my solo laner harass your mid lane. What are you going to do about that? Nothing. He dies. All right, cool. Good trade for us. Have fun. Like, the purple buff gank failed, quote unquote. They weren't able to find too much over there, but they're happy to take that trade because Jump Machine takes BenQ down a notch. And Merlin, again, already a character that doesn't scale very well, very average character. They don't have these huge spikes, is now 2 levels down a Poseidon. Not the strongest character in the world, but Krakens. That will hit, and it sucks to get smacked in the face with that, especially when this character is going to have extra items over you, extra levels over you. The follow-up is going to be...
Yeah, I'm concerned for what's going to happen in the mid lane. Now, I will say, as they go in here, Vala looking for more. Chasing down Scream does have the level lead. Now, how do you want to go about this? The ultimates are there. Do they decide to trade out here? Look at this. Inbound around the corner, looking to play helpfulness here. Ragnarok channeled. Beads are there. There's the Fear No Evil. Can they finish off Vala? Pulled into the crypts and buried into the coffin. On the other side, though, Tegvir picks up Cyclone Spin. So it's a 1-for-1 trade. No one in favor of on that point. But inbound, nice play there to be there to put down the enemy jungler and maybe slow down Valo a little bit with the aggression being put on the Scream at the moment. But it's like you said, right now in the mid lane, it's 2-level difference. Poseidon, the Kraken does be Krakening. And if there's 5 people there and you throw that Kraken down, the damage is there. Merlin does have a harder time putting out that damage because he really doesn't start hitting hard until late game, like real late, like all items built. And then you kind of have to worry about Merlin. On the other side of this map, though, looks like we might get a potential gank over here again for the purple buff. Does Cherry Slush step up and try to make a move? For now, they do. And there's the Kraken. It Krakened inbound. He is gone. And now it opens up a big play here for maybe not just the purple buff, but they can look for a little bit more here. Gold Fury is on the table if they decide to go that way. Happen. Trying to hold off Cyclone Spin for the time being. They get the purple buff and they walk away. And then it looks like a play over here on the other side. Because they just want to keep fighting as far as for these oracles. How are you feeling about that use of Kraken? Was it used at the right time, or do you think they could have got a kill anyway there, Musi?
Kraken is a great tool against Baron Samedi, who doesn't have a great way to get away from anything that Poseidon does. So I think it's good. It's a little good tit for tat here. Valo under a little bit of duress. BenQ chases.
Ooh, Valo. The dog, gets put back in the kennel for the time being. The aggression that was there earlier not being allowed to... falls under the tier 1 there. Nice play by BenQ to help finish that off with the help of Scream. Karmic versus Cherry, a fight I've seen many times. Looking to channel into the execute, can't get it. Thor up in the air, crashes back down to get out just in time. Cherry almost takes the spill. Looks like Scream gonna rotate over, maybe steal a blue buff away. And Cherry's gonna regen most of their health, not all of it.
Well, they've got the aspect to get a little bit of healing back. Inbound. All right, I respect it, right? You're able to force the beads away from Twig. It opens up opportunities that Scream might be able to get an ult on top of the Poseidon there. And I do want to highlight something just all the way back from an engagement. Scream at inbound who picked off Valo, because it's related to the beads that are being used, where you said it yourself, Valo doesn't have beads. And Cherry Slush was able to force out that ultimate early, and then from that they can punish Valo because, again, there's no CC immunity there once their ult is gone. So the eyes are going to be on Jump Machine to make sure that they build things like Talisman of Purification. Even a Magi's or a Mantle of Discord would be a really solid pickup for really anybody. Building protections is never a bad thing to do in this patch. You just want to be able to have it. It's strictly beneficial.
Oh, 100%. I mean, you see carries build Berserker Shield right now. It gives you physical magical procs. There's nothing wrong with it. It helps you do more DPS as well. Maybe getting that little bit of procs is what's going to make the difference here. Obviously, for the tanks, you want it more, but we're seeing everybody pick up a little bit of procs as of late. I do want to highlight, though, if you go over and look at Cherry's build, he might have a Talisman of Purification, and his team already has a lot of beads. You know, he's looking there and going, hey, they don't have it, we do. Let's play a little bit more aggressive, and that's something to keep track of here. I do also want to point out we have Doom Orbs for both the mid laners. They want to be moving. Obviously, Benny Q needs it a little bit more on this Merlin than the Poseidon does for Twig. But looking at that, things to kind of keep track of here, a little bit interesting parts of the builds. And again, we have to highlight the fact of not having as many beads. Yeah, you have those CC immune ultimates, but if those get called out, you're not CC immune forever. And then you get, you know, put down, hopefully. Maybe not, but most of the time, you're probably going to get caught out there sometime after. Maybe not be a good time for you. I do like what Cherry Slush is doing. They might be a little bit down in gold. They might be a little bit down in levels, but right now, they are not anywhere near out of this game. They are right there with them.
Also, notably here too, Shield Splitter Artemis, Warrior's Axe. So Cyclone is incredibly tanky. Super hard to put down. They're going to be getting that Sunbeam Bow online pretty soon too. So they're offsetting the damage lost with on-hit effects. And you can kind of see the game plan of like, okay, that's what we're trying to do. Remember, you know, Sunbeam Bow and Bragi's Heart both deal 50% less damage to objectives. So the Gold Fury and the Fire Giant get a little dicey. You want to have more people committed to that objective when you're trying to take it down. But it does keep Cyclone Spin alive, which is most of what they have to do at this point. The whole goal of ADC is just not to feed it to farm and the Kraken. Whoa, down goes...
Yeah, Twig? Yeah, no, he's fallen. The beads was good, but it was a little bit too early. He tried to Kraken his way out of there and ended up taking the spill, put into the crypt by the Baron Samedi. Inbound, makes the play again. And this opens up a play here for Cherry Slush. Do you decide to push towards some jungle farm? Do you decide to push towards an objective like Gold Fury? For now, they're looking over to the red buffs and maybe to a gank over here on Valo and Karmic. As Cherry comes crashing down, there's another beads there by Karmic. Looking, or sorry, the CC immunity from Magi's. Valo a little bit out of place here. Nice play here by Cherry Slush to put some aggression over on Jump Machine's jungle, but nothing to really write home about besides a red buff.
The Pyromancer gets started up here by Cherry Slush. You have inbound trying to make space, and it is confirmed by Cherry Slush. So the whole game plan there was shove out any remaining vestiges of Jump Machine on that right side so we can clear up and make a bunch of space for that objective. With that, Cherry Slush earned themselves, you know, not quite a lead, but they're closing that gap a little bit closer. Whoa, little pincer maneuver here.
Oh, here's the nice play. It's a 2v3, and here's what you want to see. There's the Fear No Evil, and this fight looked like it was going to start out in Cherry Slush's favor, but now Valo picks up inbound. Inbound is in all sorts of trouble. Great shell to try to escape. The Whirlpool plus the up-down puts him away. Scream trying to make something out of a lot of nothing at the moment. Here comes Tegvir and says no. The monkey will take a spill as well off to the gray screen with you. Binniq, Cyclone Spin, walk away for the time being, but now Jump Machine looking towards the Gold Fury to extend the little bit of a lead they have. But it's not just about the lead with the Gold Furies, it's about the buffs you get along the way. Gold Fury burning fast. Cyclone Spin thought maybe, hey, do I step up to it? No, not today. Gonna secure what they can of their own farm. What Cherry Slush had there was a nice little peekaboo movement out of a bush, and ended up not being that. Jump Machine jumped up and down and put them away. So a sad time there for Cherry Slush. Looked like they were on their way back. They lose a little bit of progress there. It's kind of one of those 2 steps forward, 1 step back type ideas, Musi. If they're to go do that route again, what needed to change? What is something you want to see out of Cherry Slush to make it continue to where they can not only catch up, maybe push a little bit of a lead?
Well, so what happened in that fight there was Aphrodite ult completely negated the Humbat Salt. Not only did it keep Twig alive, it kept Happen alive, completely negated was trying to do, and already that ultimate is not as strong as it used to be, so you only have to negate a second of it, and then you're in the clear. Once that happened, the rest of Jump Machine was able to make that rotation and just jumps off of Cherry Slush. Really, we just got to be a little bit more mindful of the tools that Jump Machine has available to them and try to bait them out before we go for these hard commitments.
Happen gets pushed out there, and I agree. You gotta bait a little bit more out. You gotta know the ultimates that are there and not. And now, but look at this. Twig under assault there, getting a ton of damage put onto. There's the crack, and Twig. It looks like they're gonna live. Benny is the one that takes the fall. The commitment to Twig. He lives by the hair on the chinny chin chin. And oh my goodness, Cherry Slush look to make a play, and it gets turned back on them yet again. Cherry now over here fighting against Karmic. Two solo laners slapping each other. Is the typical of Smite lore. How do we go about this? What's the play? But man, what a play here. I was going to point out that the fact of one thing to watch out for in these fights is Tegvir. He's built into damage. He has a lot of it. But on the other side, yeah, Cyclone Spin's going to live. He has the prots. But the damage right now isn't really there for Cherry Slush. We're not to the point where those carries are doing a lot. How are we going to go about getting that going? It looks like a kin size is on the board now. How do you feel about this build so far for Cyclone?
It's good eats, good math. It's not going to come online a whole lot until we get some more, though. Penetration, more attack speed, more on-hit effects. And then I'm already seeing, if I'm not mistaken, it's probably going to be like Berserkers or is that a Mystical Male Artemis? That goes so hard. Wait, oh, Pyro!
Oh, Valo looking for something, doesn't get it. Twig picks up the Pyro, and it looks like both teams will walk away from each other for the time being, but Twig steps up. He has Happen attached to him. That means you have that Afro at the ready if you need it, but nothing will come of it. They all walk away. Pyro falls, and so does Valo's ult, and that's about it.
So,
yeah.
Bit of an awkward spot. That's a shifter shield, by the way. I did the math. Cyclone's going to opt for a shifter shield so he can get some more scaling, a little bit more strength, a little bit more intelligence, hit that much harder. But with all this tankiness, you're really just holding on until the late game so you can group up as 5 and then fight people. So Jump Machine will have a small advantage with these skirmishes where, you know, people don't have items online. They can't contest as well as Jump Machine can, just because their composition functions a little bit better earlier. Pair that with the fact that they're just, you know, ahead. It makes every engagement favor them for the most part.
Yeah, I think... Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was say, like, wondering now, like, you know, what does Cherry Slush even have to do to get back in it? And honestly, it's a short answer. It's a sweet answer. It's knuckling up. It's farming your own camps and not swinging out for anything too crazy. If you feel confident that you can win fights, because, you know, they've been able to do a few engagements and clean them up pretty significantly, just don't go actively looking for it. Play a little bit passively until you can hit that, you know, 18, 19-minute mark, and then really try to hard commit to something.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those ideas of just slow it down. Like you're doing well on the counter engage. I think you're trying a little bit too hard in some of those fights to engage, so let them burn a little bit, and then you go in. Especially if you can get Happens ult. Look at this. Karmic goes in, looks for that sickle, isn't able to find it, and now they have to back up a little bit. But look how much damage was put on a Karmic. If they slow down these fights, and they let Jump Machine engage, they survive, and then they re-engage on top of it. They do the counter-engage strat here for a little bit, until you get a little bit later, especially with Cyclone Spin on this Artemis. You get that into the team fight. It's going to do a lot of work for you. Benny Q is going to be set up to do a lot of damage based off the board. So you just have to wait it out. You just have to keep it a little bit slowed down. Here goes a Gold Fury pull by Jump Machine. What's the plan here? Do you go in on it? There's the dash in for Karmic. Karmic's going to eat some damage. There's a wall. It's a nice bit of damage actually put onto the Sobek here. Happen looking to heal the Crocodile back up, but isn't going to find it for right now. On the other side of this, Valo fighting Cyclone Spin, and Valo's not on the good end of that fight. Cherry dives in, and it looks like they're going to find Valo. The Fenrir fights it off and can't finish it off. Cyclone, with all of those procs, lives to see another day. It's now a 5v4 here around the Gold Fury-esque pit. We have a little bit in left, a little bit in mid, but can Cherry Slush find something else here? It looks like for now, it's going to slow down. How do you feel about that there, Musi? We finally get a little bit of counteraction there for Cherry Slush.
It's what they needed. to start stabilizing in this game, and it's going to be the Gold Fury that's started up by Cherry Slush as well. Jump Machine, I mean, Twig has ultimate available, so you have to be wary of that Kraken. Here goes Scream with the ult.
Happen uses the ult there as well. So now you traded those out. That's actually what you need. That's completely fine. On the other side of this, you do have to be a little bit careful because now Karmic is down on the ult. There's the Kraken. It doesn't hit the mark. This is everything that Cherry Slush needs. They don't have too much online as of yet, but Cyclone Spin and Cherry's ult should be coming up relatively soon. If Jump Machine decide that they want to aggression any further, they're gonna have to be a little bit careful. But the Gold Fury will fall to no one yet. Pyromancer is back up as well.
It's all about baiting abilities and relics away from the opposite. Slush needs to kind of follow a flow chart here of what needs to be taken away before we can hard commit to a fight. Step one has got to be Happens ultimate. We can't let Afro have ult when we try to go in on something, which they're all down now.
I'll say they know right now it's not up. There's that talisman. There's the boar. They're looking for Tegvir, but on the other side of this, Cherry is low, but now Cyclone Spin's the one in trouble. They're under the tower. Can they make a fight here? Cherry dives in. There's the double tap. It doesn't connect for all the damage, but Inbound picks up a kill to turn it around. There they go. Can they find it? BennyQ puts down Happen, and that's what they needed to see here. It opens up an opportunity for a Gold Fury pool as Pyromancer falls to Jump Machine. It's a 2 for a Pyromancer. How does that look to you, Musi? Does one team come up a little bit better than the other there? It's a slight disadvantage here for Cherry Slush as far as gold, but they do pick up a couple kills.
I think Jump Machine's happy to take that trade every day of the week. You lose your dual lane, it's not the worst thing in the world, and you get to find gold for your team. The Pyromancer bomb, handy for confirming something like a Fire Giant, especially because everybody's opting in for tank, so you need that little bit of extra oomph to finish objectives. Nothing does that better than the Pyromancer bomb to go with your Sunders. And speaking of objectives, Fire Giant now targeted by Cherry Slush, and Val's going to open up that door, but look who's on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 4 into a Ragnarok. What's the choice here? He's running away. Karmic's trying to make the way in. Valo takes a spill to Scream, and the Fire Giant's going to be re-pulled here. But now, Jump Machine are very aware of this pool. They are on the way in. 5v4. There's the wall you needed on to Happen. Happen is the one you have to watch for here on the Aphrodite. Cherry up in the air. Who does he decide to dive on? On to Poseidon. Doesn't find everything besides a beads, but that's enough. Chasing out Karmic on the other side of this. The Sobek trying to get out of here. Scream on the way in. But there's the Kraken. And there is the Kurtanos as well. Channeling the ultimate, trying to bore everybody away. Happening a lot of damage here. Cherry Slush is the ones on the move for now. Inbound is in a little bit of trouble. There's the shell to save him for now. Do you get a heal to go with it? On the other side of this, Cyclone Spin is able to throw out some arrows to slow it down. Just a complete disengage here by Cherry Slush. They say, hey, we got wanted, we're gonna back off, but Jump Machine take that as, hey, we can run it straight over to Gold Fury and get the second one that we need.
It's interesting there too that Jump Machine didn't win that fight harder because Valo, even though before they died, they pulled 3 ultimates there. Well, bye Happen, I'll miss you. They pull 3 ultimates from Cherry Slush as Jump Machine confirms themselves as Gold Fury. It's interesting because Cherry Slush just wasn't punished for it at all. In fact, they're restarting Fire Giant.
Yeah, they're restarting Fire in an outnumbered fight yet again. It's 3 right now. 4 is on the way. Tegvir's away. Scream is very, very low, trying to make the way out. He is going to be able to monkey flip his way out of there. He goes away. Karmic has to TTK. Gone, has to back up. It is 3 versus 4 right now, but now Cherry Slush back up again. They say, hey, we got a pick. We're happy with it. The gold lead isn't changing by too much. Yeah, we lose a Gold Fury, but that's okay. Cherry poking away some damage along the way. I think Cherry Slush, they might be at a gold deficit, but I don't know that they care so much about it at the moment because they're finding picks here and there. And sometimes confidence is more important than chipping away at that gold.
Well, and 2, when it comes with this Cherry Slush composition, these Fire Giant engagements, at least from the perspective of if I'm Jump Machine, I'm curious as to why they keep jumping onto it. They don't have confirm like Jump Machine has confirmed, so really all Cherry Slush is doing is baiting this for picks and engagements until they find just enough to be able to hard commit to that FG, similar to how Jump Machine is committing to this Pyromancer. There goes Kraken. Totally misses.
No, I mean, just like the pluck's there, but the Kraken is completely off the mark. And now there goes Pyromancer. Binnicu's the one that confirms it. That is huge. And Karmic is trying to run away, but so has happened. They pulled Queen Naga as well. This is a little bit scary for Jump Machine. They don't have the health bars they necessarily want. And Cherry Slush, tried and true, go back over to Fire Giant because guess what? The gold lead that was there is just dissipating, cut in half with that last engagement. Cherry Slush looking to make a play, chipping away at the Fire Giant. Binnicu looking to say, hey, who can I put damage on? But here comes Valo. Valo, Ragnarok in. The beads are perfect by Binnicu. Valo is in trouble. Cherry slams in to the middle of Jump Machine. They're trying to find the kills. Valo gone. Scream picks him up. On the other side of this, they're gonna find Karmic. They trade one out, 1 for 2, but Jump Machine cannot hang around. But Cherry Slush say, hey, cool, we're gonna get our health pools back up. We're not worried about this Fire Giant. We can keep baiting them for the kills. As I think Twig runs into a trap there, just trying to get any sort of damage to stop it back. Tegvir, Happen, Twig, not full health, but they're gonna look for a Queen Naga.
It's so curious. I mean, Jump Machine lost their spear in that engagement, right? Karmic and Valor were totally separated. Twig caught out. Binnicu and Cyclone Spin find the Poseidon alone in that solo lane. So now with 3 people dead, only 10 seconds till Valo gets back. Fire Giant now a very real possibility in Tegvir and Happen. They have ults, but they can't stand up to it. Cherry Slush should be able to confirm this.
Yeah, I mean, like, what do? You walk in, yeah, you have Happen's ult, and they're going to. Happen is here. So here you are with the Kurtanos. Tegvir is trying to make a play. Cherry dives in and says, I will zone you away. I have the health for now. Tegvir trying to make a play, but doesn't have a lot of mana. There's an ultimate. There's the Havoc got the Fire Giant. He stole it away, but not only that, he has the dagger. Tegvir picks up a kill. The turnaround is real. Valo is there. This is a bad time for Cherry Slush, as then Inbound takes a spill. Jump Machine make a way back. The boar is there, but guess who doesn't care? Karmic, he dives in looking for a play. Scream in trouble. Binnicu in trouble. There goes Jump Machine running it down. The steal is real, and Happen did what he needed to do.
They didn't have Sunder. They didn't have it. They had birds and a dream. Happen literally walks up slowly and down smashes the Fire Giant, and then steals the dagger afterwards. Now Jump Machine get to completely walk it down. They'll earn themselves mid-tier 2, mid-Phoenix. How much further do you want to go? Is it gonna be all the way?
You push for the game. The life, they're not up yet. The gray screens are still channeling. Yeah, you even have a dagger on the Aphrodite. How do they want to play this out? Scream dives in and he dies. Here goes Cyclone Spin looking for a play. Cherry dives in, trying to pick up anything they can. Titan under half health. Cyclone Spin still alive, trying to chip it away, but the minions are there as well. They don't know if they can hold, and Titan dies. Jump Machine takes the game.
What just happened? What just happened?
My
that was
God.
ridiculous. So literally it doesn't look like the Cherry Slush just didn't have confirm for their objective fights, which is so tragic. The fact that an Aphrodite is able to just walk up and take it, that's crazy, right? In no way should that ever happen to you. And then you have to respect the fact that then Jump Machine just takes that win and pushes it all the way to the W. There is no waiting. There is no hesitating. It is just, we are going in. Even after that awkward fight that they had, where Cherry Slush was able to effectively separate both the spear and the shield of the Jump Machine composition, it looks like maybe Cherry Slush would be able to have a leg up, but doesn't matter. Off one play is all it takes to win a game.
You know what? I have to say something. Supports say they don't get enough credit. Well, just make it happen. Because if you can, you steal a Fire Giant, you turn it around, and you run it down. Holy smokes. How can you not stop an Afro from walking up? The zoning was there. Cherry did everything possible, and it just collapsed. Tegvir helped turn that around. What an awesome turnaround by Jump Machine. A great game between the two teams, and what a great way to end round number 3 in the bracket.
I mean, these players are absolutely ridiculous. I always love seeing when the titans of the game start clashing. Haven't seen something like that since Smite 1. Knowers know. But it's ridiculous because it looked like Cherry Slush would have been able to turn it around. They had the fight patterns down. They were able to get more out of less, so to speak, when it comes to ultimate economy and relic economy. But like I said, all it takes is one bad fight. All it takes is one sour engagement for Jump Machine to just pile through you and run it down.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the way Cherry Slush was playing, they figured it out. They had a kind of formalic play that they were going through. It seemed to be working. And then one Fire Giant to rule them all, I guess. I mean, it just flipped on top of their heads all of a sudden. But what a fantastic play by both teams. And we're going to be heading into round number 4 here shortly. And we'll come back and tell you what teams we'll be spectating and casting.
We're gonna take on the world.